Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy Brandon Swims, and today we are back with another movie review. And the movie review that we're going to be doing is one of my favorite films that came out of 2024, and it is called A Real Pain. A Real Pain is directed by, written by, produced by, and starring none other than Jesse Eisenberg. This is a film that I really, really enjoyed, and alongside him in this film, we have Kieran Culkin. They're playing two cousins, Dave and Benji, and essentially the premise of this movie is that Dave and Benji are going on a vacation to Poland to explore where their grandmother grew up during the Holocaust. They're headed to Poland, and they get to kind of go through the journey that she would have went to and see a lot of the things that she saw. And this is something that when she died, she had purposely left them money for so that they would be able to do. So the movie really just starts off with them in the airport waiting to go to Poland. And as they go to Poland, we kind of see the two differences between who Dave is as a person and who Benji is as a person. Benji really seems to suffer with his mental health, and I think what I gathered from this is that Benji may have borderline personality disorder. Speaking as someone who has borderline personality disorder, I see a lot of similarities in how my moods can be to the moods that Benji's character goes through. For example, he is very high highs and very low lows, but he doesn't tend to spend a lot of time in those kind of peaks and valleys, which is very reminiscent of what somebody with borderline personality disorder would do. The difference between borderline personality disorder and bipolarism is bipolarism typically lasts longer periods of time. So Benji's erratic mood changes kind of hint to me that he has some mental health issues going on and that he may suffer from borderline personality disorder. Dave is kind of the polar opposite. Dave is kind of a very quiet guy and kind of keeps to himself. And I think that it's really interesting to see how these two cousins are kind of polar opposite of each other, but they talk about how great their relationship used to be. And during the movie, you kind of get to explore why their relationship isn't as good as it used to be. Back when their grandmother died, Benji had attempted to commit suicide, and it really put a damper on how the relationship was with everybody in the family. And Dave can't really understand or wrap his head around how Benji was feeling or why Benji did what he did. And so it really explores the aspect of having people in your life that have attempted to commit suicide and how it can put a strenuation on your relationship, but ultimately understanding what they're going through, but just being frustrated because you want to help. And I think it's a really interesting portrayal of that because you get kind of this unwinding of Benji not necessarily being able to feel safe without Dave, and Dave wanting to be a lot like Benji because Benji seemed to light a room up anytime he went in. And so to see that, it was really cool because I think often we as people and as a society tend to look at people and be like, man, I really wish my life was more like that person. And sometimes what happens is we wish our life was more like that person, but that person's looking at our lives and saying, man, I really wish my life was more like yours. And so I think that the way that they talk about that and the way that they explore that of, we're always kind of wanting to be somebody else and want to be like that person, but that person internally is dealing with things that we don't know, I think is a really cool idea and really just drives home the fact that you never know internally what somebody's truthfully dealing with. So to treat people with kindness. And it's really interesting to see how this pans out because Benji acts so erratically multiple times throughout this movie. There's times where he's like yelling at the tour guide because the tour guide is like, they're like exploring someplace and he just like keeps talking and talking and talking. Benji's like, hey, this seems borderline disrespectful. Can you give some respect to the people that are dying here? And there's multiple instances like that where he just kind of has these freakouts, and they're really interesting freakouts because they don't take away from what the movie is as a whole, but rather it makes Benji's character so unique. And Kieran Culkin has just this presence to him playing this character. It's really, really incredible and really cool to see how that plays out. I really enjoy how they explore the journey that they're going on to honor their grandma, but they're also going on this journey and kind of rekindling their relationship as cousins because they used to be super close when they were younger. But like I said, once their grandmother died or Benji and Dave grew up, they kind of went on different paths in life. And so there's been a strenuation on their relationship, and they're really on this trip together, kind of rekindling that and reliving some of the memories that they had about their grandma and about their relationship growing up. In the film, they end up talking about how their grandmother was such a big influence on Benji's life and how she was really Benji's best friend and they did everything together. And I myself have kind of felt that. And so it's once again allowed me to live vicariously through a character, because I've had two grandparents that have passed away. One passed away in February of last year, and the other one passed away in November of 2017. And it really affects you in a way that you really wouldn't imagine. Growing up, I was super close with both sets of my grandparents, and my grandfathers both really shaped who I am as a person. My grandfather on my mom's side helped shape who I am as a Christian and as a father. And then my other grandpa got me interested in football, golf, computers, and a whole line of things. So losing a grandparent is something that really affects you in a way um, drastically different for two different people. Dave handled it one way, Benji handled it a different way, and I think that's very close to how my sister and I kind of handled it when we lost both of our grandfathers. And I think it's interesting to be able to kind of see that on a screen. I think that this movie is overall, it's just a fantastic film. It's 90 minutes long, and it never feels boring at any point. There's moments where I laughed. There's moments where I almost cried. There's moments when I smiled. There's just all these genuine, like, different emotions that happen throughout the film, and it's really, really enjoyable. What I really got out of this film was that you should really just love people for who they are, and treat people with kindness, because you really never know what somebody's going through, and your presence or impact in their life may be something that, you don't necessarily know how deep that goes for them, but it could be a reason that they're still here and a reason that they keep going. It's because you're involved in their life. Like I said, I really, really love this movie, and I highly recommend it to anybody. It's 90 minutes long. There's nothing in this film that I think could have been done better. I really like the chemistry between Kieran Culkin and Jesse Eisenberg, and I think if you're looking for a 90-minute movie to pass some time, this is a film for you. I really appreciate all your guys' support through this content and through the content that I've continued to make. The next movie that we're going to be covering is The Substance, that came out in 2024. I recently watched it, actually a day before I'm recording this, and it is a phenomenal film that I cannot stop thinking about. Thank you guys again so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.